Counter-Strike, or CS as it is referred to by the gamers, has a long and complex history. The game wasn't always what we see today. Counter-Strike 2 wasn't a thing, gameplay modes had to be introduced, there were no such thing as skins in the game, and instead of playing competitive, players opted for community service instead. Such choices weren't made by accident, players chose what was available back in the day, and back in 1999 CS was just a baby. Counter-Strike was initially released on Windows in 1999, with Counter-Strike initially being released as a modification for Half-Life that was designed by Jess, Cliffe and Minh, Gooseman. Valve has acquired the rights to the intellectual property of the invention in around 2000 when they released Counter-Strike as a retail product. Counter-Strike was a resounding success to the point where developers started creating mods and variations of the game, and the first well-known variation of the game was called Condition Zero. Counter-Strike Condition Zero, or CSCZ for short, was developed by Ritual Entertainment, Turtle Rock Studios and Valve and was released in March 2004. The game used the Half-Life or Gold Source engine and for the first time in the game's history introduced a multiplayer mode, at the same time featuring updated player models, textures and maps that, as the game went on, defined the game as a whole. Counter-Strike Condition Zero also included two single-player campaigns, with them being called Tour of Duty and Condition Zero Deleted Scenes. This edition of Counter-Strike also included bots in the game. While Tour of Duty didn't survive, the campaign featured a linear progression system, making players complete each map by defeating bots and completing various challenges like eliminating enemies or rescuing hostages. Deleted Scenes, on the other hand, provided an offline, non-arena based single-player campaign for the player. While Condition Zero was widely known to have received mixed reviews and has copped some negative feedback due to its lengthy development, this edition of Counter-Strike was also praised for its inclusion of artificial intelligence and new maps that became available in the game. At the same time, Valve has kept improving the game, making it available on Xbox in 2003 and porting it to OS X and Linux in April 2013. Condition Zero was quickly followed suit by another release, this one being called Counter-Strike Source. CS Source is the first game released by Valve that is known to run on the Source engine. The game was initially released as a beta for the members of the Valve Cyber Cafe program on August 11, 2004, and it became available to players of Condition Zero on August 18 of the same year. Counter-Strike Source was initially released on Windows, being ported to OS X on June 23, 2010 and Linux in 2013. Back in the day, you could even buy ATI Radeon graphics cards that came bundled with a Half-Life 2 voucher and play the game too. After Counter-Strike Source, the next 8 years, at least in terms of new games being released, were quiet. Libraries were not. With Counter-Strike quickly gaining notoriety, the game was played by children, teenagers, especially those attending middle or high school programs, and students. Back in the day, LAN parties were a thing too. Those parties featured a group of people sitting in one room playing games and enjoying themselves, with Counter-Strike often in the spotlight. Counter-Strike was in the spotlight of professional players too, with the first professional Counter-Strike tournament being organized in 2001 and being called the Cyber Athlete Professional League Winter Championship. This championship can be considered the first major of Counter-Strike. After a couple of years of Counter-Strike Source have elapsed, Valve has decided that it is time to create a new version of the game yet again. Counter-Strike Global Offensive was released on August 21, 2012 and quickly stole the spotlight from the other games in the franchise. As time went on and the game became available for more and more players, Counter-Strike Global Offensive was at the center of various updates too. Updates in CSGO had a mixed reputation. While some of them were useful for old school and new players alike, some were considered unnecessary or even broke the game. The game reached its peak in 2015 with numerous well-thought-out updates that introduced cases, skins and new weapons. Some of those updates broke the game and are remembered to this day, others however shaped the game for the future. With all of this in mind, Counter-Strike Global Offensive wasn't the beginning nor the end of Counter-Strike, as after years of development, Valve has decided to release Counter-Strike 2 in 2023. CS2 featured a brand new 3D smoke design, a revamp of the anti-cheat system that originally haunted many players for years, an upgrade to the maps in the game, a ticker-independent gameplay, enhanced visual effects and audio, global and regional leaderboards, a rating system, and other new features. These features were long awaited, and while some of them are being worked on even to this day, all of them comprise what's known as the elite game of Counter-Strike. Did you play Counter-Strike as a kid? Are you a player nowadays? What feature of Counter-Strike interests you the most? Tell me in the comments below, subscribe to see more videos situated around Counter-Strike, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.